You have found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. Are the Houston Rockets and Memphis Grizzlies the most likely trade partner for the Chicago Bulls if they do want to trade up? We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, we're going to talk about a Alex Caruso for Bobby Portis trade idea that is an interesting one to say the least. We'll discuss that. And prospects the Chicago Bulls should stay far away from in the 2024 NBA draft. We're going to get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
Kofi Cobra.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, a member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze, that is remonetized on YouTube. Go show my boy some love.
Hey, we back.
He beat the man. Like, shout out. They was trying to keep my boy down, man.
I don't know if I beat the man. Technically, they sent me to jail for 3 months, and they finally let me out. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you still beat him.
I don't know if I beat him, but I'll take what I can get.
Also, the host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central and Chicago Sky Central YouTube pages and podcasts, because Chicago Sky Central is pop.
Hey, listen.
Hey.
You could drop it. I like that you're not even being like freaking clickbaity. You could drop just a Caitlin Clark video every day and it would grow tremendously.
Yeah, bro. Like, yeah. You can't. That's one thing about me. I don't like being clickbaity, but nonetheless, bro, let's get into it.
Let's
man.
get into these clickbaity topics. Not playing.
The Memphis Grizzlies and the Houston Rockets have been listed as the highest potential trade partners if the Chicago Bulls are realistically looking to trade up. The Houston Rockets sit at number 3. Part of the reason that was mentioned in the article of why they'd be willing to trade down is they are currently in a place where kind of where the Bulls were when they went and got Lonzo Ball and everybody. They are looking to win now. They're not necessarily looking to add any more young prospects, considering they still have a ton of young prospects down there that are still going to grow, but they are trying to find to win and compete now, even with having those younger prospects. Let's start here with the Houston Rockets. We'll get over to the Memphis Grizzlies here in a second. Pat, how do you feel about the chances of the Houston Rockets realistically trading that number 3 overall pick?
I think there's high chances. I think literally after the draft, we had heard the Houston Rockets are available to trade in the
literally, it was right after the lottery. Like, by the way, we don't want this. Do y'all? Y'all,
bro. The second it wasn't first overall, they were like, take the pick. We do not. We have no desire for it. And I think it's attainable. I don't think it's going to cost you as much as it would cost you in other years. I've thrown the idea out there of if you're trading with Houston, you're absolutely including Alex Caruso in that, which is a veteran player that I believe that they would want back, that they think could help them get to that next level. Very much how the Bulls feel about that. And if they're playing high ball and you want to just be ahead of everybody and go get your guy, you can include that 11th overall pick. And you basically give them the 11th overall pick and Alex Caruso, you get 3. That's not something that you would get the 3rd overall pick for in most drafts. Now, the value on this year's draft and 3rd overall pick may be a lot less, but realistically speaking, you now have your pick of the litter. We know who's going 1. We know who's going 2. 3 is kind of where things end up getting a little bit questionable. If you've got a guy that you believe is that level of player, you can get him without having to worry about Portland or OKC trading up and getting ahead of you. And I think the Bulls have the best player that they could offer for right now when Alex Caruso is a demon. So Houston, every team in the NBA would love to have him. I mean, could you even maybe get some extra draft capital on top of that? But that's a story for another day. But I think even like I could see the Bulls getting the 3rd overall pick, maybe for like Alex Caruso and a future first or a future second, and actually holding on to both picks in this draft, or a couple future seconds, I should say, and actually holding on to both picks in this draft, because I think Houston values the pick that little, where they're like, we just want the best player available.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think Houston, Alex Caruso makes a lot of sense for Houston when you look at like the kind of veterans that they have added. They've added Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks to those teams, 2 hard-nosed players that give effort on both sides. I don't know if they're actually like as happy with Fred VanVleet. He didn't have a bad season for them, but Alex Caruso could come in and offer them a lot of what they kind of need and what it seems like they're going towards as well with their roster. So I'm not here to say that it's highly likely. I still am going to err on the side that it's more likely than not the Bulls don't trade, they just drafted number 11. Yes. And that's the most likely scenario. But if Houston is there, I do think the Bulls make a call and see if they can get something done. Now, with the next team on this, though, the Memphis Grizzlies, that sit only 2 spots above the Chicago Bulls at number 9. How you feeling about this one? Isn't as straightforward. They do have Marcus Smart there. We know they still want some depth with Ja Morant. Marcus Smart can play multiple positions. Alex Caruso would theoretically be able to play multiple positions. There's still a team that, is trying to maybe more so find a center this offseason than maybe another guard. But what do you think, Pat?
I mean, I think that's my thing. This isn't a draft capital trade. If I'm trading with Memphis, I'm giving you a player for your pick. What player do you want? Mm-hmm. Is this a Zach LaVine to Memphis trade? I don't think so. Is this an Alex Caruso to Memphis trade to get another pick in this year's draft and move up a couple of spots and probably still not be in a position to get the player you want? I don't think it's worth that. I think if you're trading up, you see somebody, in the top 5 that you want. This one didn't make a lot of sense to me, honestly, because you're only getting, I guess you're getting multiple first round picks here, which you like, but what player do you have on the roster that they want back? Of course they want Alex Caruso, but they're going to have to send me more than just the 9th overall pick. You know what I mean? Like you're
well, it depends. Let me ask you this. Does it change your thought process at all? We keep talking about this as a trading up, which is cool, right? I'm not saying that it's not likely, but what if it isn't trading up? What if the Bulls are looking to hold on to number 11 and they're just looking to acquire another pick higher up to have 2 picks in this draft? Does that change your opinion at all? Well, and how a trade like that could go?
That's what I mean, though. Like this is, and when I'm, I guess when I'm saying trading up, I'm just saying add it in this case, because I'm not trading you the 11th overall pick to move up.
Yeah, to move up 2 spots.
Yeah, I mean, now if
you're giving up Alex Caruso, now if they say, "Hey, we could let you move up 2," and maybe it's like, "Hey, well, let's get that Portland pick, which is more than likely going to be 2 seconds off you." Maybe if you're just that, if your guy falls, it wouldn't be a draft that happens, trade that happens at the beginning of the draft. It literally would have to be that the Memphis Grizzlies are there at number 9, and the guy that the Bulls want is there. I don't know who picks between the Bulls, because the Bulls are at 11, Memphis Grizzlies are at number 9. I don't know who picks between those guys, but the only way I can see it happening that way is if the team between them, they're worried about taking the player they want.
Yeah, and even then, you got to think that guy is such a stud.
Yeah.
That you're willing to trade away one of your premier players. You know what I mean? So
Utah Jazz there at number 10.
Utah Jazz, yeah, that's what I was about to say. I don't know. I wouldn't make a trade with Memphis personally, because I think it keeps you behind all of the teams that you're worried about taking the player. Like the teams that, they're talking about moving up or trying to add pieces right now. OKC possibly. Portland has been rumored to be trying to move up, right? Or possibly stand back and if they're interested in Donovan Clingan, just take him there at 7 if he falls to him, right? So yeah. I think that I'm kind of looking at, okay, you got to at a minimum get ahead of Portland if you're going to get the player that I think that Bulls want. But I guess in this draft, that's also the biggest question. Who is it that the Bulls are zeroing in on that would fall that far in the draft?
Guess what? We don't know, because we don't know what this Bulls team is going to do. Because like you would think if they're trading up, it has to be one of the extremely high upside picks. So either that or like it's either Clingan or like Mattis Bucilis, somebody like that. But even then, you got to see it like there's players that, to me, Tajon Saloon and Bucilis have very similar ceilings, very, very similar high upside picks. And one of those guys is probably going to fall close to number 11.
Yeah, that's true.
But this is also one of the, I feel like this going into this draft, there are going to be so many teams like, hey, is our guy falling? Is a guy not? Is a guy falling? Oh, we're willing to, like, it's just because you don't know what's going to happen with so many of these picks. And Nikola Topic having the partial ACL tear throws even more things into the loop, per se. So I just don't know how to read it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Nikola Topic ACL, the draft is all out of play. I don't know what this is going to be. One of those years. Watch we get it right, though. Watch we're like, this is who the Bulls are going to take, and this is the year we get it right. Meanwhile, other years when we're sitting there breaking down 600 prospects and freaking.
You want to know how many prospects are broken down on Chicago Bulls Central so far, bro? 39 prospects. 39.
This will be the year you'll get it right.
Yeah,
The most confusing year.
I covered 33 last year and didn't get it right at all. So,
Bulls went a whole different direction. What just happened there?
My dog just stepped on my light. I don't know why these mutts keep doing this.
Oh, dog. That's good. But no, I think realistically speaking, if I had to pick between the two,
when you have a 144-pound dog, and then a 144-pound Nikita, and then a 98-pound lab that just like to operate in this, it's like Nikola Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan like to score in the same spot. Like, that's what I have going on in my house all the time. They always want to be in the same spot. It's crazy.
I understand. Trust me. But no, if I had to pick between the two, I would rather do the Houston trade because I think it puts you more into the future, especially if you could hold on to that 11th overall pick as well. You can get a couple of players instead of just getting one.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what the Bulls do. Most likely nothing. But I mean, we can hope for more. Let's see what they do. Next up, we're going to be talking about an interesting trade scenario I found on a Milwaukee Bucks blog, which it's a dangerous place to be. There's some weird people over there. Before we get into that, I got to talk to you guys about one of the sponsors.
Cheese play is going on over there.
Cheese play?
Can you not say that? Can you say that on?
I got to get into a message from one of our sponsors, and that is eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, Pat. Let's get into this this cheesehead crazy. This cheese play, by the way, is hilarious.
Cheese play is nuts, bro. You know they into it. You know they're into it. Anybody want some cheese and sausage? All right, let's get shopping.
So the what's the writer's name? I want to make sure I quote the writer correctly. Jackson Gross. That makes sense that he covers the Milwaukee Bucks. Presented this trade scenario in which the Milwaukee Bucks would send Bobby Portis and MarJon Beauchamp and a 2024 first-round pick from the New Orleans Pelicans for Alex Caruso. How do you feel about that trade there? And I feel like this would be a trade that I felt like we would see from a Bulls fan, but the fact that somebody covering the Milwaukee Bucks came up with this, it's like,
I guess here's my why. Like, why would they give up on Portis to bring in AC? Beauchamp, yeah, I'm here for. I love that.
I like Beauchamp. I think we were high on him in that draft.
Some solid upside. I wanted MarJon Beauchamp. I don't know why they would move on from Bobby Portis for Alex Caruso. Like, what is the advantage you're gaining there? Because
in this article,
Brook Lopez is kind of at the end of his days here.
In his explanation of this is that the Milwaukee Bucks aren't as happy with the recent antics of Bobby Portis. So this comes down to not necessarily the player on the court, but some of the off the court stuff for Bobby Portis that they're not as happy with and wanting to find some depth behind Dame Lillard.
I mean,
I get what you're saying. It's still it's a mad questionable trade, right? So
I'm not mad at. Listen, for the Bulls side, heck yeah, bring Bobby back. I would love to have Bobby back in the building. I think he still brings a lot of good size down low. I think he's got his game completely figured out. I would love to see the combination of him and Kobe White. I think you're adding a legit. Here's the thing: you're adding a legitimate big man down there that, to me,
we have not had for quite a while.
You haven't had since you got rid of him.
Yeah, that's crazy accurate. And the thing that I do like about this, again, my preference is us to hold on to Alex Caruso. I want to be clear there. But if you are moving on from Alex Caruso, you're bringing back another guy in Bobby Portis who has some veteran leadership. He's won a title. Almost everything that you can check off about Alex Caruso, Bobby Portis brings some of that. He's been through playoff battles. He definitely is going to hold this team to different expectations. He's also somebody I can see buying into the system that Billy Donovan has here. You're getting a young wing back in Marjon Beauchamp, and you're getting the number 23 overall pick in the draft, which could be your center of the future. And like a Yves Missy is slated to go around that area. Tyler Smith's slated to go around that area. So you could get a lot. My question is, I don't see the Bucks doing this without at least the Portland pick being a part of this as well.
Which, listen, at this point, I'm fine giving up. Portland's not making the playoffs anytime soon.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
if you look at that Portland Trailblazers team and see them making the playoffs in the next 4 years, I need whatever you're smoking.
Bro, in the West, that's the thing. Did you see the playoffs we just saw? Everybody in that playoffs, minus Jokic and LeBron, it's 22 and up. Yeah, I mean, they're kids.
I also want to point this out again. I'm pointing this stuff out. I wouldn't do this so much if it was a Bulls blog, but I am doing this because this is a Milwaukee Bucks writer.
Yeah.
They also had a poll on here where they allowed people to vote for it. The Bobby Portis for Caruso trade is leading with 38% of the vote out of almost 20,000 votes.
Really? So Bucks fans are in on moving on from Bobby. That's interesting because I feel like Bobby Portis gave you some really, really good minutes last year. And listen, we know he'd start here on the Bulls. I mean, I'd be in favor of it because you're trading basically two guys who are essentially that same guy. And I'll say this, we've seen Bobby in those moments where Giannis is out or Brook is out. He needs to be the focal point piece. He steps up massively. And so does that mean that he's just the guy that can step up? Or if you bring him here to Chicago and you try to find a way to move on from Vooch, or you try to find a way to maybe move Vooch to the bench at some point or whatever it is, can he be a starting center that you can build around on this team? I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility for Bobby Portis. And he's still 28.
It's
Bobby's young.
29. He's 29 years old. He'll be 30 in February. So around the trade deadline, he'll turn 30. But here's the thing, is that if you find a young center in this draft, I'm not mad at Bobby Portis. He has 2 years left on his contract. I'm not mad at that. As you acclimate and see what you got, I'm not mad at that at all.
Listen, dude, I'm not saying I'm tingly, but you know how big of a change it would be to start a season with a lineup of Kobe White. I don't know if they could get Bobby if they keep DeMar, but you got to figure some math out on that. But Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, DeMar DeRozan, probably Torrey Craig at the starting four at this point.
Torrey Craig's gone, bro. He's opted.
That's true.
As a player, I don't think he's coming.
Yeah, I don't think he's taking it. We ain't heard nothing from Torrey Craig. Well,
I know Bobby Portis is definitely a player that'll look at Patrick Williams and be like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, so's DeMar. Like, we got a bunch of players that are doing that. Everybody's looking at P.
But DeMar does it and also gives him a hug. Bobby would do it and be like, I'm going to punch you if you don't shoot the ball. Like, what are we doing here?
But yeah, I mean, like, you can do a lot worse than Kobe, Ayo, DeMar, P. Will.
You're still looking at P. Will.
And I don't want to. And Bobby Portis. Like, you've got a legitimate 5 down there, I think. And he's a rim protector and he's an offensive threat. It's not a terrible lineup.
It's not terrible. It's not great either.
It's not a championship lineup, but again, you're not going to get a championship lineup. I talked about this on yesterday's episode.
There's no way we're putting together a championship lineup.
Well, I think here's the thing. You won't know you're getting a championship lineup until somebody takes that championship step.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, somebody takes that. And what I mean by that is, right, does Kobe White take a leap from 19 points per game to a 25 plus point per game player this season? If he does that and he's got the leadership that you got there, guess what? You got your young player that you can build around for the future. But that's really what it comes down to. Or are you building a really good roster right now, which I think this would be a really good roster until you can find your next star. Excuse me, I almost died. Your next star that you can put into the lineup. I think you could do a lot worse than a Bobby Portis trade. I'd be here for it. I don't know why Bucks fans are sick of him, but yeah, I'd always take Bobby back.
Yeah, I mean, it would really catch me off guard if that were to be something that we saw, is them move on from Bobby Portis for Alex Caruso. But I thought it was interesting enough to bring it here and talk about it, because I don't hate the trade, and this is one of the first times where I saw it, and it was presented from the perception of the other team, and it's like, I actually like the way we come out on that one.
I would love it. I would love it. Absolutely. I think that's what's very interesting about it. This is, I think the Bucks come out well on that side, because you're getting AC, right? AC's the everyman guy. He's going to bring the fire. He's what you wanted Pat Bev to be at the end of last season when you brought him over there before he started throwing basketballs at people's heads, right? You know what I mean? Like that.
Do you subscribe to my podcast?
I do not. I do not. I watch through TikTok. I'm a TikTok watcher. I do follow
I can't watch a Pat Bev podcast, bro. I can't do it.
Everything I've seen, like they put it on TikTok, and it's like all the long form, all the segments I've seen look really good.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
But I'm also weird. I don't really, you know what I mean? I don't really dive into like I do this for work, but I'm not like sitting there watching 3-hour YouTube videos either. Well, I guess I kind of am. I watch Kill Tony. Kill Tony's phenomenal. That's technically,
as long as you're not watching Kai Cenat, that's all.
See, like my brother loves Kai Cenat, and I'm like,
that makes sense though, because your brother's in that age group. Like they all got severe ADHD that they're just functioning with.
But see, that's what's tough about it. It's like 4 hours.
Yeah.
So you're focusing on something for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it's just this dude living his life.
Yeah.
We should have became Twitch streamers, bro.
No, bro, because listen, I don't like people enough for that.
You don't have to like people. They just there. It's no different than this. We just would have more money. No, because he be getting up dancing. I ain't got time for that. One episode with him and Kevin Hart, though, was really funny. I got to give him that one. But that was more so because of Kevin Hart. But we friends, though.
Do your ad read, bro. Let's get up out of here, man.
No Riz. That's insane, bro. To ask a chick out in front of the whole Twitch chat. It's nuts, bro. When you're hiring for a small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. Here's what you need to do. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs, and that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find professionals for your team faster and free. And LinkedIn isn't just another job board. It has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the place to hire. It gives access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does have that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get qualified candidates within the first 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. That's why LinkedIn Jobs is making the process easier for you. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply.
All right, Pat, before we get up out of here, man, we've stayed pretty positive so far in the NBA draft, I would say. We've been pretty positive on the prospects. But let's flip that a little bit.
Let's trash these guys. Where's Kai Soto?
That was an interesting time.
That was a wild year, bro. That was literally when I realized, like, oh, the world is still very racist.
Still very, very racist, bro. I've never been called a monkey before. Then I was like, oh, okay.
I have, but it was just like the amount of monkeys that was crazy, bro. It was like,
that is crazy.
Like 17 in a row. Like, I think I got up to that. It was nuts.
That's crazy. But what prospect in this, or prospects, if you want to go multiple, do you want to see the Chicago Bulls stay far away from in this draft?
Listen, it's so interesting because you don't know what anything is going to be in this draft, but bro, like I don't get the massive amount of Zach Edey love after sitting there watching all of his tape, bro.
Bro, you know what it is? And it goes back to what
and
we
it's not that he's
not bad.
He's not bad. He's not bad. But here's my thing. You have to think of it in Bulls terms, not in full team terms, or not in full NBA terms. In Bulls terms, he's not getting back on defense. He's not going to be able to run. Like, we're trying to speed this offense up.
That's my thing that I always say for the Bulls fans to talk about us playing slow, and they're like, "Bet we play slow. We don't have good pick and roll defense. We need Zach Edey." What?
I don't get it, bro. That is the one guy who, for this team, I'm not saying he can't be in the NBA. I'm not saying he's not going to be a good player, but for this team, I don't think that he moves you in the right direction. And I would want the Bulls to stay very, very far away from Zach Edey if they're actually trying to move forward. Now, because of that, we'll probably take Zach Edey 9th overall after we've moved up. You know what I mean? But hey, it is what it is.
It's not. I feel very confident in saying that that's not going to happen, but we'll see what happens there.
Top 9 pick now, my boy. He's a top 9 pick.
What did it say, from 9 to 22? Like
9 to what a range on that.
By the crazy range. It's like, hey, you can go anywhere from 9 to 26. Like, okay. Thank you for telling us that. We appreciate you there. You know what? Somebody that I was actually high on when we initially started talking about him, but somebody that I know a lot of people expected to hear this topic. Oh, Haize is about to go in on Zach Edey. No, somebody that I've actually flipped on is Cody Williams. I don't want to see the Bulls draft Cody Williams anymore.
Really?
I really don't. Like initially when those talks were there and saying, well, Cody Williams could fall to the Chicago Bulls, I was like, hey, no, I'm not mad at it. But looking more at Cody Williams' tape and things like that, really good defender. But
he's Patrick Williams.
That too. I don't think he has the mental issues that Pat. That's not a good way to word that at all. That actually was very bad to word it that way.
I don't think he's nuts.
He doesn't have the drive issues that he has. But the thing that I look at with Cody Williams is that he's this guy who's been talked about as being projected as this 3-and-D player in the NBA level. Defense is there. Getting out of transition is there. He can finish around the rim. He's not a great athlete. And his three-point shot, bro, the more and more I look at it, it's almost as bad as Dalen Terry's when he came into the league. That shot is ugly, bro. But we're talking about 2 years now, and Dalen Terry's shot looks night and day better than what it did when he came in the NBA, but it still looks terrible. So
his goes in, though. That's the difference. Listen, you can have a bad shot if it works. You know what I mean? We've seen bad shots work. Sean Marion got a bad shot. That mug went in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Cody Williams doesn't go in like that, bro.
He what is he? He 37% on like 3 attempts. Like, yeah, I mean, like,
yeah, he's 41% on 1.7 attempts. That's the thing.
That's my thing. It's like you're projecting him to be this phenomenal player, but when you look at the game by games with Cody Williams, it's, you know, he takes 10 attempts one game and knocks down 5. He takes 2 attempts the next and knocks down 1. Like, what's the role that you got to play here? And not to say, listen, he's a good player, he can get to the bucket, but I don't disagree with you that, to me, Cody Williams seems like the type of player AK would draft.
Exactly. And we need something different
with this. Ton of upside, ton of potential, but we don't know when he's going to realize any of it.
Exactly. And it's not that, and again, if the Bulls were to draft Cody Williams, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense to what the Bulls did. He does have upside. I'm not acting like he's going to be, like you said with Zach, I'm not acting like he's going to be this player that's just terrible. It's just that we've seen this story before. Yeah. And maybe his own personal thing makes it different than what Patrick Williams is. But to me, it's just like, listen, Cody Williams is what is Cody Williams? 20 years old? We have a 22-year-old Cody Williams on this team already.
Yeah. Here's if I can throw one more in there before we get up out of there.
Yeah.
Leave Nikola Topic in his knees right where he at.
Bro, if the Bulls, with the injury history that we have of knees and point guards here, if the Bulls draft a point guard that's starting off with a partially torn ACL, I will lose it, bro.
Bro, leave that man right where he's at. I understand the possibility of what he can bring. I understand his athleticism. I understand his vision. I understand his defense. I understand his ball skills and all of that. But Bro, you got too much knee history at the point guard position in this city to be going out there and drafting dudes that already got torn ACLs. I'm sorry. Like, that's just, maybe it's just me, bro.
Starting
like,
off your career with a partially torn ACL is nasty work.
Hey, bro, and coming to Chicago, like,
that's what means.
Just shoot him in the knee the second you draft him. Like,
let him go to San Antonio. He can be the point guard they need to pair with Wemby. They great international 1-2 punch in the pick and roll, all that great stuff. Because the San Antonio Spurs, hell, they drafted a player with no ACLs. You remember what was his name? Blair? Like,
Duane Blair.
They drafted a player with no ACLs. Let them do it, bro. We got too much ACL trauma here, bro.
Bro. If the Bulls draft Nikola Topic, bro, he might as well just walk across the stage, and they should just have freaking Javonte Green on the other side with a pistol in his pocket and just shoot him in the knee. Let's just get it out of the way the second that you call his name, bro. Nikola Topic. Oh, here's your hat. Here you go. Foul right there. Just shoot him in the knee.
Now watch. With that said, they're going to draft Nikola Topic.
Oh, bro, here's the thing. The fact that he's falling, and I mean, listen, not to say we don't need a point guard, but if I was going to pick one in a perfect scenario that I think could come over here and if he fell would run the offense kind of how we saw Lonzo running things early on, I wouldn't be mad at going to get Nikola Topic. But the second you hear bad knees, it's like, well, don't bring him here. He gonna sign with Adidas the second he get here.
Oh my God. That would be the 1-2 punch where I'll just be like, oh man, listen, I gotta take this year off as a Bulls fan. I'm taking a red shirt year. I gotta sit down.
Red shirt. Hey, listen, the fact that we cover the Bulls, we get a Jordan year, right? Don't we get a couple of years where we can just retire and then come back?
Yeah.
We got to. We get at least 4 years maximum. Hey, appreciate y'all tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago.
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, and Fire TV. Make sure you guys check us out there. We'll be back tomorrow, y'all. Peace. Drafting somebody with a pre-torn ACL. That's crazy.
Nuts.